What's good, y'all? It's Brother Yazil here. Uh, just coming with a quick video about something that's basically just been weighing on my mind for a minute. Been meaning to make this video for a minute. It's about this letter from King Leopold of Belgium to some Christian colonial missionaries. Came out in 1883. It was basically reiterating the agenda that was supposed to be promoted in the Congo. If you don't know what was going on in the Congo, they call it the Belgian genocide, Congolese genocide, or the rubber terror, because the Congo was actually being exploited for a lot of resources. But this was such a crazy terror. Most people don't even know that this was a mass genocide, a greater genocide than we probably ever seen. It's roughly around 10 million Congolese people that were murdered through means of direct murder, famine, and sickness, all coming from the Belgian government. We know how these European countries like to get down. So we're going to go right here, and we're going to start with this. Saying at the Berlin Conference of 1884 through 85, the European powers allocated most of the Congo Basin region to a supposedly philanthropic organization ran by Leopold II, who had long held ambitions for colonial expansion. So this is what we talk about when we say crafty counsel. They love to plot on the people. They've been watching us. They love to watch us. They know our metric. Because, mind you, we may not know, but they know that we're the chosen people of God. We are the people of the Most High. So we're going to start off with this letter, because the letter is really telling. It's Reverends, Father, and dear compatriots. The task that is given to fulfill is very delicate and requires much tact. You will go to certainly to evangelize, but your evangelization must inspire, above all, Belgium interests. So we're going to go into what do they mean by evangelize? Evangelism, first of all, means to be the teachings of Christ, the direct teachings of Christ, the gospel of Christ, or our Messiah. But we have to watch for people that come in Christ's name. Best believe when these people first appeared before the African people, they were coming in the name of Christ. Soft hands, waving, smiles, and whatnot. But our Messiah told us to watch out for people like this, right? Watch out for these missionaries. Watch out who comes in the name of the Lord. Because what does he say in Matthew 7:15? He says, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. What do you call more a ravening wolf more than people who are doing this to people? This was a known thing that they were doing to the Congolese people. After they would get them to do their work, they were getting their hands chopped off. This is King Leopold. They were getting their hands chopped off. A lot of people were getting killed due to sickness, just straight up murder. It was terrible. It was terrible. But we're going to move on, right? Your principal objective in our mission in the Congo is never to teach the N-words to know God. This they know already. They speak and submit to a Mungu, one zombie, one Inzakomba, and what else I don't know. So these are what the names that these African people were calling for their one God. This is showing that they know who we are. There's no other people attached to literally attached to their one God so much, but they know who we are. They know that we're Israel, who the Most High chose separately to be his people. But when we actually go and we look this up, right? So let's look this up. Let's look up that last word, Nzakomba, what that means. When you go to it, it says God, Lord, God of the forefathers. So when we say God of the forefathers, we obviously know that the children of Israel, it's repeated on and on throughout the Bible. You got Acts 7 and 32, you got Exodus 3 and 6, saying that I am your God, the Lord of your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So they know who we are. This is why there's such a strong attachment to us. This is why they can never fully take the Most High away from us. So what do they have to do? They have to misconstrue things and cause confusion, because that's what Satan is. He's the author of confusion. Look, this is interesting too. It shows how the law is embedded into his people. They know that to kill, to sleep with someone else's wife, and to lie and to insult is bad. All of those things are commandments. We know, obviously, thou shalt not kill. We know thou shalt not commit adultery, which is sleeping with someone's wife for a man. And with a woman is obviously to be stepping outside of your marriage. To lie and to be insulting, that's going against kindness. That's not a fruit of the spirit, to be insulting. So it's showing that it's embedded in our culture, embedded into who we are as a people, to know that these things are wrong. Not saying that we don't do it, because it's because of these very same reasons and these dark spirits that we have gotten ourselves into these positions in the first place. So we're going to move on. I actually want to bring it back. I want to bring it back to this article here. Quick little Wikipedia article. And it says, initially, the quasi-colony proved unprofitable and insufficient, with the state always close to bankruptcy. The boom in demand for natural rubber, which was abundant in the territory, created a radical shift in the 1890s to facilitate the extraction and export of rubber. All vacant land in the Congo was nationalized, with the majority distributed to private companies as concessions. So we hear this same story all the time, over and over and over. Why is it us? Why is it always so-called black people that it's happening to? Because these are the curses that we had to endure, because we turned away from the God of our fathers. We broke the commandments of the Most High. That's why we go through these things. So I'm going to take you to Deuteronomy chapter 28, where it's actually speaking about these curses, right? And it says, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given to another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. I want to bring it back to these pictures we were just looking at. They were known for taking people's hands off, y'all. Look at the evil of these people. They were taking off people's hands. Let's look at this one right here. This is a good example. This was a known thing that was going on during this time. Taking people's hands off. It's actually a picture. Look at this. It's actually a picture of this dad. It's a sad picture. He was looking at this dad. It was this dad. He's looking at his daughter. He's watching the remnants of his daughter's hands, like her one hand and like 1 foot or something. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. So it's interesting that this verse actually says, and there shall be no might in thine hand. Showing it's symbolic, but in this context, you can take it literal as well, because it's like, when it says no might in thy hand, we know who the mightiest people are. They know who the mightiest people are. He actually is going to speak about that more in the article. They know who the mightiest people are. They know that we're people of defense, that we can defend ourselves, especially when we are in right standing with the Most High. But we're going to keep going to go onto this rubber. And we already know the Congo is dead in the central of Africa, the most fruitful continent in the world, and it's dead in the center. This is the most resourceful, probably most fertile land possibly could be on the planet. And it says, the fruit of thy land, meaning any resource that comes from the land, natural resources, and all thy labors shall a nation which thou not knowest eat up, and thou shalt only be oppressed and crushed always, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. So we're going to go back to that. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors. So we have to remember that the curses in Deuteronomy didn't only apply to the slaves that went to America. This was going on to the whole diaspora. We were scattered. So even the people of Israel that still happened to stay on the homeland, they were still going through colonialism, which had the same effects, and it was just happening in different ways. So all these Congolese workers are slaving in the fields. They're digging up rubber. This is actually still going on today. What company is that? The tire company that has people literally digging up rubber for free. I think it's Firestone or something like that. These people are working, slaving for the fruits on their land. And they're not eating the labors of it. Shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up? Who are these people? But they come from outside, they invade. This is the crafty counsel that we talk about. This is the crafty counsel that we talk about. When we go back and we talk about the Berlin Conference, these are all these European powers. It says the European powers allocated most of the Congo Basin region. So we're going to go to Psalm 83 and 3 and see what it talks about all these conferences. And there's a million of them that's taking place over time. So we're going to go to Psalm 83 and 3. Give me 1 second. So it says right here, Psalm 83, we're going to start at verse 2. So this same Psalm 83, verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head, meaning they started getting mighty, they started getting prideful, started getting bold with us. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones, the sheltered ones, the people that are already away, tucked away. And they still were targeting those people. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. This is showing all the nations of the earth have teamed up against the nation of Israel. You tell me what other people on the earth where everybody has had their bits and pickings with us. Everybody done had us in chains at one point. Everybody's benefiting off of us to this day. Every single nation. And it goes on to say that. So we're going to go, this is just right after 5. This is verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites. So we already know who they claim to be Edom and who are the Ishmaelites. That would be the white man, and then that would be the Arab. Of Moab and the Hagarenes and Jabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines and the inhabitants of Tyre. So that's just some of the nations that have had their due with us through their conferences, through teaming up against the children of Israel. But we have to understand, we were put in these positions. Why? Because we broke God's commandments. This is why it happened. So we're going to finish off right here with this article, right? With this letter, from Leopold to these missionaries. Where was I at? And it says, have courage to admit it. You are not going to teach them what they know already. Your essential role is to facilitate the task of administrators and industrials, which means you will go to interpret the gospel in the way it will be best to protect your interests in that part of the world. So that's already showing with these world religions. Notice how they say interpret the gospel. First